So adapt or disappear. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change. And the question here is, how fast are we adapting to this change which is happening around us all the time? It's driven by technology as business transformation, or businesses are, the way we used to run businesses have changed. So how are we adapting to that? And we really need to change at this point in time. If you look at the recent surveys done by KPMG and Deloitte as well, about 51% of the audit committee members says the work that audit is doing is not on the board agenda. And that's a big thinking point for us. When audit function is doing something and that is not on board agenda, they might be doing some good work, but that doesn't really matter. So the question here is, how fast are we adapting? And I would use the Chinese proverb which says, when winds of change blow, you either build walls or you build windmills. So the question here to everyone is, are we building walls when facing these winds of change, or are we building windmills? You know, we can embrace this technology and embrace these change and use it to our benefit. Changing realities, data is the new oil, and these are interesting insights. The major the oil majors BP and Royal Dutch Shell in 2017, they generated more cash when oil price averaged at $45 a barrel versus what it was in 2014, more than $100 a barrel. Just imagine how significant that change is, that they're in a position. So it's all driven by the data. They relied on the data. They did their business transformation, process simplification, and more technology driven changes, and that led them to generate more cash, a huge impact. And disruption has already happened. We see it happening all the time around us. World's largest taxi company owns no taxis. Largest accommodation provider owns no real estate. Largest phone company owns no telco infrastructure. Most valuable retailer has no inventory. Most popular media owner creates no content. So a traditional way of running the business, if you Google and just check on top 5 organizations worldwide in last 5 to 7 years, you would see the technology driven companies have taken over very recently versus a traditional business. If you can take an example of any oil and gas sector or the stuff. So the businesses are changing, the business model have changed significantly. So how has internal audit adapted to that changed model? Are we adapting to that, or are we just, happy doing the stuff that was applicable a few years ago and we're still doing that? We need to see there. The choice for us is very clear: innovate or become irrelevant. So it's a simple choice. You're either at one creating automation, or you're the one being automated. So, we need to see which side we are at. And I keep asking this question in my presentation, that when was the last time when you did something new for the first time? If you can see you did something new at very recent times and you're doing something, that probably you're adapting to the change. And if it was long ago, that probably we need to think. And especially current circumstances, COVID-19 has raised a big question mark the way we used to do our business. We spend weeks and months putting together an audit plan, and we got it approved through audit committee and board, and now suddenly that's no more applicable. Technically speaking, in my organization as well, we've pretty much discarded that, and we're totally focused on the real risk faced by the business. But what happened in the real world? Are we, if just park this COVID-19 situation aside, are we agile enough to adapt to the changes or to these risks which keep happening all the time? Let's ask that question. And let's move on our typical risk-based auditing approach. So I keep asking that question: what is the purpose of risk management? Is it managing risks, or is it helping the business deliver its strategy through focusing on achievement of its strategic business objectives? So that's a major shift in the thinking process. If we do our risk assessment with the mindset of managing risk versus supporting the business to achieve its objectives, the whole focus changes. We need to bring in business objectives into our focus, and we need to see how we are delivering, how we're helping the organization in achieving that. So, Farooq, I would hand it over to you, and if you can lead us, what are the different levels of automation, and to what extent we can apply artificial intelligence throughout our processes?
Yeah, very good start, Imran. Like I think it's hardly 5 a.m. over there for you, and
Yeah.
you're completely energetic. So thank you very much for joining so early. Taking from where you've stopped, it's very simple. This is a space where we have to agree and accept. Where exactly are we in terms of our business practices? I don't think we have all of the manual practices, but I think most of us would be in between the manual and digitized zone, where we have a lot of isolated system without talking to each other. Or I would see many of us have understood this and already started working on it with having integrated digital platforms. And technology, people who love to go with technology, I've seen a lot of organization going with the advanced analytics, and then infusing the RPA and AI engines into their business strategies. So, but whatever state are you in, it's very important that you understand that the kind of data which goes in, the quality of data which goes in, is the most important thing. You may have the best of the best engine in place, but if you don't fill it with the right data, it's going to have a difficult time.